about when I was a college student and how I made 5,000 bucks as a college student working at a video store. So this kind of dates me a little bit, but I'm 66 this year. I can admit it up here. 40 plus years ago, I was this is when videos came out and they were on a video player, and I was working for a friend of mine that had a video store. And one of the things they did at that video store was that they rented out movies, and movies were $3 to rent a video cassette. They were $3, but most people didn't own a player, a VCR player, and those VCR players were expensive. They were 400 or 500 bucks way back then, which is thousands of dollars in today's money. So he bought a bunch of them. He bought probably 100 of them, and he had all these video players because people would want to come in and rent movies, but they did not have a player to play on it. This just dates us back here, but he had a problem. Now, I was working there making a couple bucks an hour, not very much. And I just sat back and just kind of watched and goes, well, what's the problem here? He's got all this money tied up into his store. He has all these videos, and back then the videos were expensive. Some of those were $70, $80 a piece. Not like today where stuff is really, really cheap and streaming is very, very different. But you go back to the days of Blockbuster and some of these other organizations, they all thought everybody wanted to come into the store and pick their movies. But back then, a lot of these videos were 60, 70 bucks. And his goal, what he had to do, he needed customers. The biggest thing he had is customers, because he had all this inventory, he had all these machines, and his goal is to get them out. How do I get them out? How do I get them out? How do I get them out? And so I was watching that going, well, what's his problem? Well, his problem is that he needs a lot more customers, and we got to get them hooked. We got to get them hooked, because you could have gone to his store or you could have gone to other stores that were competitors of him. And so the real goal for him was to get as many students and as many clients as possible, as fast as possible, and get them connected to him and to his store. And so I approached him and I says, well, how about if I help you do that? And I'll just show you some simple math of what we did. So back then, and you guys are going to laugh at this because you guys are streaming everything today, but you go back in the day, people could get a membership. You could get a membership to a video store. Okay, I'm going to make that just a little bit smaller. There you go. You could get a membership to a video store, and that membership was expensive. When they got started, those memberships were hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Okay, so you could get a membership to be part of that. And some of those were $100 plus. And remember, this is 40 years ago. And you had to have a membership in order to be able to rent movies. Well, as more and more competition came out, this number went down to $50, and then it went down as low as $20. So you got to get a membership for 20 bucks, and then you can start renting movies there. And the movies were higher, they were more expensive, and the movies themselves, he would rent out for $3. Remember, this was a long time ago. This is like $10 in today's money. So the movies were $3 each, and the player, these players were cost hundreds and hundreds of, probably $400 or $500 when they started, which is thousands of dollars today. But he would rent those players out for $1. Now, why he did that is because very few people had a player, and his goal was to get somebody to walk in there and rent maybe 3 movies at a time, because they could keep them overnight, and that'd be $9 worth of income coming in here. So he had 3 problems. One, he needed, number one problem, if you're building out your business, you need more customers. Now, a lot of times people, they just stop right there. I need more customers. So all I'm going to do is concentrate on more customers. Number 2 is to get them to buy more. Spend more money every time you come through the store. And then number 3 is to buy more often. Those are the only 3 ways that you can really grow your business. Now, there's 25 subways that you can really grow those businesses, but the 3 big ones that you really concentrate are those 3 things. So memberships were expensive. Movies were expensive to buy, And so it didn't make any sense unless you could get them rented out. You've got to get them rented out. If they sit on your shelf, you didn't make any money. And to get those players out, and I think at one time he had probably 50 to 75 players. I'm going to say, just for easy math, I'm going to say he had 100 of them between his two stores. And those cost him at least $500 each back then. Well, five, and then you put four zeros, 1, 2, 3, 4. He had $50,000 invested in players. So he had to move this kind of stuff right here. Now, as a college student, I was just watching him, what he was doing, and he needed more customers. And he was so busy doing what he was doing that I came and I approached him with a solution. Now, the second piece is we need him to get to buy more. So the goal was is to get them to spend more money every time they came in. So don't walk out with one movie. We want you to walk out with 2 or 3 movies. Okay. We want you to buy more. Then we want you to buy more often. So one of the things he did is he added pizza. And they would make fresh pizza, and you'd come in and you'd get movies and you'd buy a pizza with it. Okay. So that's how we got him in there to come in there weekly. And by having the pizza, they would spend more money in his store. And by getting 2 or 3 videos at a time, that's how we got more of them. So the last thing was, how do I get customers in there and how do I get them hooked? Okay. So you can see the problem. That's his problem. He is working his hiney off, working as hard as he can, and he hasn't got time to really spend a lot of time going to try and get more customers. Now I says, well, how do we solve this? How do I make this so it works for him? He's got all this money invested in machines. He's got all this money invested in movies. He's running as fast as he can with the staff he's got because his margins are kind of small. How do I get him a lot more customers that buy more often? How do I get him in there every week? Well, first of all, I got to get him attracted to his operation. So I made him a deal. I says, I've got a crazy idea. And he's been a friend of mine for decades, and he worked with me for many years after that. I says, I got an idea for you. Let's go back and let's see if we can make a big change so we can get you a lot of bodies here. So when you'd walk into the store, everybody had to pay $20 one time in order to get a membership. So you'd have to pay $20 to get a membership. Okay, so you got to come in with $20 to get started. And movies were $3 each, and a player was $1. So that's the layout of it. So I said to him, okay, well, how about if we do this? I will literally go sell these pieces here. And a membership, if you walked into the store, you'd have to spend $20 one time to get a membership. And if you got 6 movies, if you wanted to get 6 movies, it's going to cost you $18 that you would use. So the value is you walk into the store, it's going to cost you $38. $38. I'll tell you what I'm going to do, Jan. I'm going to do a craziness. I'm not going to sell these for $38. I'm going to sell them for $15. I'm going to sell these for $15. And what it gives you a couple things. It gives you a membership, and it gets you 6 movies. You walk in the store, you're going to pay $38. But if you buy the special, it's only $15. And the concept is you have to use the movies in 30 days or they expire. Why did I do that? Because I wanted them to get in the store. Get in the store. I want you to get in the store. Now, once they get in there, now they become his client. Now, how do I get them hooked? Well, you got 6 movies, so you got to get them all rented within 30 days. So they learned the habit of renting more than one movie. So they rent multiple movies at a time. Okay. So we want to get you the 6 movies, and we want to get you fast, and we want you to do this. So we want you to get into the store. So, and I said, now here's what I'm going to do, Jan. This is going to be crazy, but I want all the money. I want all the money, because after 30 days, now they're your client and you get to keep them for years and years and years. And he says, well, I need $1 out of each one of them. So we made a deal that they would cost me $1 per membership, and I was going to make $14 per membership. And again, you got to say, well, what's in it for him? Well, I'm going to bring him all these new clients. I'm going to bring him all these people that are going to continue to rent movies. The lifetime value. What's the lifetime value of a customer? Well, if I get them hooked, then they're going to keep coming into his store and just keep coming for years and years and years. So he saw the beauty of that, and he says, yep, go for it. Go make it all happen. And so literally, I would go door to door, knocking on doors and say, we've got a special videos, or this package is $38. You go in the store. We're selling them right now for $15. Would you like one? And it was such a good deal that it basically sold itself. Then we hired guys, and of that $14, I took 7 of it, and they took 7 of it. And that was pretty good because we had people just knocking on doors that were making, if you went to work for somebody, you'd make back then probably $2-3 an hour, and they could knock on a door and sell an incredible offer. What's the credible offer? For $14, and they get to keep half of it. And we literally sold thousands of these. We'd have people sitting outside a store, and they would just sit there, and people would walk up. Well, that's a great value. Let me buy one of those. And they would buy one because it was such a hot item. And we sold thousands of them. And that's how I made $5,000 just by doing one thing. Now, I made a lot of money doing that. Did he make a lot of money? Yeah, because now he's got all these new customers that are going to spend money. Look at that. Oh, did we nail the 3 of them? Yes. We got new customers for him. They're going to buy more because he had pizza, and he wanted them to get 2 or 3 videos at a time. They'd have all these family and friends come over. They'd have pizza, and they would binge. This is when binging started. And they would come, and then the goal was, how do I get them to come in every week? So was this good for him? Absolutely. Was it good for me? Absolutely. Because we did all 3 of these things. We got them to do those 3 things that we wanted to do. Did I make a lot of money of it? Yeah, I did. Did he make more money than I did? Yeah, probably over time he did. So that's what we did. We found a problem. What was the problem? This is what was going on in the marketplace. How do we fix it? Okay. And so you think outside the box. How do I fix it? How do I make this work for him? And then as I explained to him, well, I'm going to get you all these new customers, and they have to rent their videos in 30 days. So that means I'm going to get them in the store. They're going to rent their videos. We're going to teach them how to rent 2 or 3 at a time. And it was inexpensive to get a machine. And so they would walk out spending $10 or $15, but they would have their friends and family over, and they would binge watch 2 or 3 movies. And that's how he built this massive store back in the day. So that's one of the things you do. So what did I do? I found a problem. What was the problem? As I sat back and look, what's this problem? Well, he needs more customers. He needs them to come in more often, and he needs them to buy more every time they walk through the door. And by looking at those 3 things, I came up with a solution for him. And we got the vast majority of the money, but he was the winner long term, because now that after 30 days, those people kept renting and renting and renting off him for a very long period of time. As you create small businesses, think of the 3 things. How do I help someone, myself or someone else, get more customers? I didn't even own the store. I was just friends with the guy. And I was in there, renting out machines for him, making him a couple bucks an hour, not very much. But I made a lot more by helping him solve the problem. How do you get more customers? How do you get them to buy more often? Get in there every week. How do I get them to buy more when they walk in the store? And by doing those 3 things, he thrived, and so did we. That's what I want you to do, guys. Find a problem, fix it. Life's a game. Games are fun. Business is a game, and games are fun. Let's go fix those problems.